throughout this week, Janet Yellen has been facing her Senate confirmation hearing. Now, she's up to be the chair of the Federal Reserve once Ben Bernanke steps down. And we're still learning about much of her views and what she thinks about fiscal policy, monetary policy. But one topic that she discussed earlier today that's quite interesting, and I think it's going to be well received here at TYT, is the issue of income inequality. And so here are a few of her quotes. She says, "This is a very serious problem. It's not a new problem. It's a problem that really goes back to the 1980s, in which we have seen a huge rise in income inequality. For many, many years, the middle and those below the middle have actually been losing absolutely. A disproportionate share of those gains that we have had have gone to the top 10% and even the top 1%. So this is an extremely difficult and, to my mind, very worrisome problem." So, very good words about income inequality. It's one of the biggest issues facing our country that almost never gets discussed outside of TYT and the occasional liberal blog, I think.
And she also talked about technology, globalization, and
the things
decline
that
of the unions. Yes. It's the things that caused it. I mean, she's like begging to be filibustered.
Which you don't need to beg for in today's Senate.
Yeah, look, we fought really hard to make sure that Larry Summers was not nominated to be the head of the Fed.
So he could go on to be the top economic advisor to the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Yeah, right? Of course, right. And maybe it'll make a little bit of a difference. Now, look, don't put all your hopes and aspirations in Janet Yellen. First of all, don't do that in regards to anybody, right? But and she has been on board for most of the Fed policies, et cetera. But she was a little right about the oncoming problems before the 2007 crash, et cetera. Now, would Larry Summers have given a damn about income inequality? He can pay lip service to it. He wouldn't have given a damn about anything. Larry Summers lives in the banker world, and like 98% of his friends are bankers. He wasn't going to do a damn thing about it, and he wasn't, certainly in his confirmation hearings, wasn't going to talk about how unions should be strengthened so we can have better income equality.
What can she do about it?
Well, look, the head of the Fed is one of the most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah,
now,
but how can she affect how much people earn and take home and pay their employees?
Well, for example, when you get to policies about banks, if you give them lower interest rates, right, as we have been doing for a long time, that gives them huge power and the ability to make more and more money, and hence more money to the top 1%, 10%, et cetera, right? And actually, for a lot of the people who save their money, retirees, it gives them less money because there's lower interest rates, right? So one thing she could do is she could raise interest rates a little bit. Now, don't expect anything drastic, but so here's a person who will be in a position of significant power in that regard. Will she, so it's something. It's something.
She'll have the ear of Obama.
It's such a hard issue. I mean, when I look at how it affects some of the different businesses I work in, it's like if you're looking for money for a small business because of the consolidation of wealth, the guy's like, look, it costs me as much work to do $1 million deal as a $300 million deal. So get out of here, like with your small, like little things that you guys want. That's how it affects the average person. I don't see how Janet Yellen is going to be able to change that.
Well, if she's going to be directly advising the president, if her words are going to be, spread throughout, like the media is going to be covering, if her words become gospel and she has the right views on income inequality, on austerity and things like that, I think that, if nothing other than tone, I think that it can possibly have an effect on policy.
You're talking about a significant part of the economic hierarchy in government. And if it's one person, at least one person, saying out loud and vociferously, hey, sequestration is crazy. It is slowing an economic recovery that would put people to work. That this is as she said there, I get debt reduction.
So she's a good opinion leader, but with no power.
Well, I mean, she's. In the sense that nobody.
No, Wes, nobody is God, right? So, she has the head of the Fed has a ton of power. If you think she doesn't have any power, then no one has power.
She doesn't have power. Look, this has all been caused by opening up our borders for any kind of import, signing on WTO, like everything else we've done in the last 20 years. This isn't like an instant thing.
Well, if you talk,
this has all been about saying, oh, you have these American regulations and labor laws. Let's see how much fuel it takes to get from China to America with the product, and we'll move it over there.
You cannot argue that having the head of the Fed say that we need to strengthen unions and crack down on Wall Street deregulation, that doesn't somehow, that doesn't increase the chances that you at least stop the endless separation of rich from poor. I mean, it definitely helps. And she, of course, has some bargaining power with Congress. If you're talking about, short-sighted budget cuts because you want to achieve you want to reduce the deficit from 16.5 trillion to 16.2 trillion during your term so you can take it back to your constituents. I mean, I don't know how this works. I don't know if she ever goes, look, you want to keep interest rates low for your people? Then don't do this. I mean, there's stuff she has some power.
Yeah, and more people that are in the right camp in more positions of power might make a difference. But ultimately, I have an ironic agreement with you, Wes, which is that I think she's misdiagnosing the problem, as I think almost everybody does, right? So let's show my favorite chart in the world. We've shown this many times in the Young Turks, and it involves productivity and then the wages that people got in return for it. So as you can see there, productivity is doing great. It's been doing great for a long, long time in America. And then real median family income in the late 1970s levels off. And there's this giant difference between how productive you were as Americans and the return you got from that. And that difference went to the top 1%, 10%, et cetera. Now, the reason for that is manyfold, and yes, you've got unions and this and that and all that stuff. But the real reason is that the top 1% was allowed to fix the rules in their favor in every way, Wes. So
For decades.
That's right. And so to unwind that, of course, I think the most important issue is to get money out of politics so they can't keep fixing the rules, all the rules in their favor, right? So can Janet Yellen do that as the head of the Fed? Of course she can't. No, right? But every voice matters, every position of power matters, so that if the American people rise up, left, right, middle, et cetera. All right, we can disagree on that too. But that when they get to just mildly,
brushes the nacho dust off their stomach and pays attention.
That's right, yeah.
If they ever get to that position where they can make a difference through that movement, then having a Janet Yellen and a progressive president and a progressive Senate or House, et cetera, as progressive as they could possibly get, which is very, very. So that's Congress is the least hopeful place, right? But when it happens, at least having those people in place will help.
To buttress your chart, bottom 60% of earners this has been described as a lost decade. Yeah. Like the wage growth in the last 10 years just hasn't. It's been non-existent. While, as we know, the rich have gotten enormously wealthy.
Look at how retail does in things like very high-end brands, Saks and stuff up on Fifth Avenue, and then compare it to Walmart, Kmart, other things. And you've seen every time after you have this recession, within 6 months, the rich have a lot of money, the art industry's booming. Down below, there's nothing. Because they're taking all the money. Like, as much as for 20 years you've heard, no, the pie's getting bigger. We need these job creators to make the pie bigger. And there was a thing last week I saw where you had, like, what was it, 5 of the 10 richest people in the world are Waltons, like Sam Walton's kids, worth $33, $34, $35 billion. And you're like, well, how do you get that money? Well, you got that money because people still need to buy all these products. And you've shipped them overseas for slave labor, and you're taking all the money. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Or we came in, we took over the company, and we liquidated the retirees. That's where the money comes from. They're not magically creating anything.
Here's now my favorite fact to go along with my favorite chart. The 6 Walton heirs have the equivalent of over 40% of the wealth, 40% of the American people's wealth. Like, the bottom 40% does not equal just the 6 Walton heirs. And by the way, remember, those guys might have helped in the business a tiny bit, whatever they did, I don't know. But Sam Walton founded it. They're the heirs. Those 6, you can say pretty much didn't do anything.
And they are fighting a modest inheritance tax.
Oh, they're fighting everything. They're along with the Koch brothers, et cetera. They give a ton of money.
Disgusting human beings.
They fight the minimum wage. They fight the minimum wage. They fight every kind of breaking up the unions, the whole Scott Walker thing in Wisconsin. The Walton heirs, the leeches that, okay, look, bless Sam Walton. You agree or disagree with the Walmart?
Fuck Sam Walton, dude. Fucking Sam Walton took the jobs away from millions of Americans and left us with this Mick economy that does nothing. that doesn't
And they're
provide
getting rid of
great
the dollar
advancement or
menu.
anything else. Dude, it's just, the
Okay,
guy's
but
not
I-
a hero.
wait.
all
No, no,
right?
I understand, but
Guys.
at least he was the original power baron who
He was a cheap bastard who didn't want to pay people money, and he worked politicians in Arkansas and the rest of places to kill unions and make sure you could set up there and not have union problems. So you didn't have to pay people.
So I could at least respect that the way that I respect Dick Cheney, right? What I don't respect is his 6 kids who didn't do dick now telling me about how much they deserve and how we shouldn't give an extra nickel in minimum wage to the guys working in the stores that their daddy set up.
Yeah.
They're
And-
glorified Paris Hilton.